Hey everybody, thanks for hanging out upstairs with us. This is Patrick. Welcome to another episode of PDubs Arcade Loft. And on today's episode, we're going to show you a DIY retro arcade LED light up button kit for your Arcade1Up Countercade. Okay everybody, we're back. So if you're unfamiliar with DIY Retro Arcade, I'll put a link in the video description below. DIY Retro Arcade has some wonderful modding solutions for you for your Arcade1Up machines as well as your Arcade1Up Countercades. Taking a look on their website, you simply go right here, then you go down to Arcade1Up Countercade. You'll see the different kind of modding parts and supplies he has available. Underneath the LED kits is where we want to go, and when you click on that, you'll notice that we do have different LED kits for each of the Arcade1Up Countercade models that have already been released. Since I'm modding a Dig Dug Countercade, this is the one I'm going to want to use. The kit does come with the 4 buttons, the joystick, the LED wiring harness, the jumper cables you need to plug the buttons into the stock encoder board for the Arcade1Up, as well as a bat top, as well as a Y splitter for getting power to everything. These kits are only 22 bucks, and they're pretty cool if you just want to keep your machine stock, or maybe even mod it further down the road. Obviously, step 1, we're going to take off our screws. We're going to go ahead and take off our ball top. Once we get that unscrewed, remove the dust cover, and then of course remove the plexi overlay. Now we can go ahead and take off our control panel, and got to be careful, the yellow speaker wire is very short, so we're going to unhook that from the encoder board as well as the ribbon cable. And now our control panel is completely detached. You'll notice here that the encoder board is labeled nice and simple, so as we take the buttons and everything out, we'll know exactly where to plug them back in. For the buttons, you simply just squeeze on the sides and push through and they'll pop out, and you'll go ahead and put your new buttons in. The buttons do have the simple black screws, so they screw right on. That stuff is all pretty basic and simple. Obviously, the trick, of course, with this stuff is just simply making sure you get everything wired up correctly. Go ahead and grab your jumper cables that are going to plug directly into the stock encoder board. You'll notice that the bottom of the buttons have 4 pins, 2 sets there on the top, 2 sets on the bottom. The 2 sets connected to the gray square are for the micro switch, and that's where we want to plug our jumper cables in. On the micro switch, they do have positive and negative sides labeled, so it's nice and easy. I go ahead and use the black wire as our negative wire, red is positive. Get that fitted on there, plug it back into where the button originally was on the encoder board, and you go ahead and do that for all 4 buttons. When you're done, it'll look something like this. Nice and simple. We have all of our buttons set up and plugged into the encoder board where the original buttons were, and it should look something like this. Now, of course, we have the fun part is getting the LED cable in here. Now, this cable is really, really long, so you can go ahead and just start kind of tucking it in there if you want. It's a really long daisy chain cable. If you've done Raspberry Pi mods with LED buttons in the past, you're going to be kind of familiar with this process at this point. The LED harness here is daisy chained. You want to make sure that when you get everything set up the way you want, that you plug the corresponding red and black wires into the corresponding positive and negative connectors on the buttons. Now these are really small, really tiny, so you have to be careful that you don't accidentally damage the connectors. When you're all done, it's going to look a little something like this. Now this is a hot mess. You could do wire management if you choose. I myself plan on doing a full Countercade mod soon, so I'm just going to leave it as a rat's nest for now. You can go ahead and plug your ribbon cable back in. Make sure you get all those long dangly wires tucked in, and at this point we can move to the back of the cabinet because we still got to get power to this thing. And we're going to remove our screws and take off the back of the countercade cabinet. Once it's taken off, we're going to take the Y splitter that came with the kit, and we're going to plug that into the power wire coming through the back of the countercade. And now we're going to take both ends, plug one into the PCB, and the other end will go into the power wire for the LED harness. Nice and simple. And at this point, I'm feeling pretty confident. You can go ahead and give everything a test run if you want, but I'm going to go ahead and get everything fully assembled. The one caveat to this particular LED kit is that once the machine is plugged in, the lights go on, and the lights stay on until the machine is unplugged. As you can see, everything looks great. Let's go ahead and fire it up, and you'll see that it comes on. Our game fires on. So this is a nice quick, if you're into having LED light up buttons, this is a nice quick and cheap mod, only $22 plus shipping, to have this up and running, and it only literally took maybe 10-15 minutes to get it up and running. Hope you guys enjoyed the walkthrough. Leave comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, click that bell for notifications, and as always, appreciate you hanging out upstairs with us and spending some time in PDubs Arcade Loft. Hope you guys have a great day.